Okay, we're going to preheat the oven to 375. And if your oven gets hot, do 350. I'm going to do 350 because mine gets really hot. So it's baking now. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to make meatloaf. And the way I'm going to make the meatloaf today is my grandmother's recipe. So we have the meat in the bowl, and we're going to sprinkle in some diced onions. As you can see here, I have onions, mushrooms, green peppers, breadcrumbs, and an egg, and some canned milk. And this is the way my grandmother made meatloaf when I was a child. So that's why we're going to make Grandma's meatloaf. So, just going to sprinkle in the onions. I'm going to sprinkle in some mushrooms. Now, I don't necessarily need to use all the ones that I have here. If not, I can just put them in Ziploc bags and put them in the fridge and use them on my next meal. I've been making it so long that I don't need to measure anything. But if you want to measure, you can put whatever your desired flavor is. Like if you like a lot of onions, you can put a lot of onions in. If you like green peppers, you can put a lot of green peppers in. Now I'm making a few meatloafs because I'm going to give one to my mom as well. Then I'm going to throw some breadcrumbs in there. And the spices I'm going to use are just going to be salt, pepper, and poultry seasoning. Now we're also going to put an egg in there. And hopefully I broke it nice. And I did. Perfect. I usually save all my egg shells for my gardening, but I have a surplus of them right now because it is winter time here. So I'm going to put some pepper in. Now again, that's to your desired flavor, right? If you don't like a lot of pepper, don't put a lot in. And I'm going to put poultry seasoning in. Now, for people that need to measure, I'd put about half a teaspoon or so in, depending on how big your meatloaf is. And we're going to put a little salt in. And this is my grandmother's trick right here. A little good-fashioned squirt of carnation canned milk, which it's not coming out very well. So I gotta use something to open that up right quick. Little squirt. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix it in with my hands, and I can't really hold my camera and mix it in with both of my hands. So I'm going to fast forward to where it's mixed up and show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like when it's all mixed up. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a big piece of it and we're going to line some pans. And I have some pans. This pan I have already lined with tin foil, just because I don't like the bottom of the pan. You know how pans get when you've had them for a while. Now we're not going to fill it up all the way because of the fact that we're going to add mashed potatoes and cheddar cheese on the top of it, because that's the way my nanny made it. So that's the way we're going to make it today. And I do like the mashed potatoes and the cheese on the top of it. It's pretty delightful. Now, meatloaf does seem to shrink a little bit while it's making, depending on what type of meat you have. So, mine is lean and medium. I have two kinds mixed together, but chances are I'll have to drain it. So we're going to continue to fill it. The oven is preheated on to 350, and we're going to put it in, and then we're going to fast forward. So I'll see you when we fast forward. So now that we have them in the pan, what we're going to do is we're going to cover them up, which this one I left enough where we could actually cover it up, and we're going to pop them in the oven. And then we're going to let them cook for about 20-25 minutes, and then we're going to check on them. So we'll fast forward to then. So while the meatloaf is cooking, we're going to make a pot of mashed potatoes. And as you can see, I have the potatoes ready to cook, and the meatloaf is in the oven. And as I can see, it still has a little bit of ways to go, and it's been in for about, well, I'd say about 20 minutes now. So we'll check on it in a little while. We'll fast forward to when we're. Are you ready? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to drain some of that fat off the meat. And as you can see, saving the can that you use for one of the ingredients, like the mushrooms, is a great way to do it. And we're going to fast forward. We're going to put it back in the oven. So now that the meatloaf's done, we're going to cover it with mashed potatoes. And then we're going to spread cheese on it. And then we're going to put it back in the oven. So now it's in the oven, sprinkled with cheese and mashed potatoes, and it'll probably take just long enough for the cheese to melt, so keep an eye on it, you don't want to burn it. And there you have my grandmother's meatloaf with mashed potatoes and melted cheese. Enjoy!